Hello and welcome, everyone. Very excited to have all of you here. Looking forward to the conversation. Of course, the key part of this is making sure we get your questions answered. So a few questions were submitted ahead of time. They were reasonably generic. So I think we've got those answers built in. And of course, are happy to take more questions all the way through. So I will keep the chat box open. I get alerted if somebody enters a question. You can send messages to me privately or let everyone see them, your choice. And I will do my best to notice those and pay attention to them and answer them as we move through the conversation. Let's get you the information you're looking for. So the conversation today, we're talking about coaching certification and credentialing, and we get you have a ton of choices. So the objective here is, what do you want to look at? What are your considerations? How do you know which school? Because there's a lot of them. And of course, we'll share information on the programs we offer. Now, because you're checking us out, we want to give back to you. So I do have something for you at the end. All right, let's dive in. First off, the agenda for the conversation today. We'll define coaching and the journey to becoming a coach. That journey part is where a lot of the questions were. How does it work? What does it take? What are the requirements, etc.? So we'll cover that. We'll share some statistics and insights around coaching as a profession. We'll talk you through the Staircase to Success coaching model. It's a fabulous analogy for understanding how you truly develop a coaching relationship based on the competencies. And then we also have a diagram of a very generic process. Please keep in mind, processes in coaching vary tremendously. It's very much tailored to the individual client. So that's an example of a generic one. We'll talk about pros and cons of certification, because as much as I want to say it is all pros, I get it. There are definitely cons too. We'll give you the reasons people tell us that they chose certification with us. Obviously, we all want to brag and say, hey, we're the best. There are a lot of good programs out there. We're going to give you what people felt was significant, what they told us was significant, and then making their choice here. We'll talk about what to look for in a training program anywhere you go, what your opportunities are with coaching, and of course, the overview of our programs. And when we do that, we'll tell you about what all's included, because there's a lot of extras there, which is a good thing. All right, moving into the definition. This does come from the International Coaching Federation. That is where all of the standards come from in terms of competencies and ethics and credentialing, etc. So we'll be diving into that journey with them. The definition to me is fabulous because of the word choice. A few things that highlights that are incredibly significant. So the first thing the definition says is that coaching is partnering. Partnering is very different than engaging a professional. So when you think about it, when we hire an attorney, a financial planner, a counselor, a therapist, whatever it is, we see them as the expert. They are the professional. They are the ones with the answers. And you're on a higher level. When we talk about engaging a coach, you're on the same level. They're truly there as your partner. Coaches hold clients as fully capable and fully empowered. And they come with the process. It goes on to say, a thought-provoking, I love that part of it, and creative process that inspires them to recognize and maximize their personal and professional potential. It is actually, to me, a privilege to coach someone, because they are truly opening up to you and you are supporting them and have the privilege of being on their journey with them as they gain their own wins and successes. All right. So as mentioned, that comes from the International Coaching Federation. People have questions about them. Some of them know some. So a few basics. First off, they are a nonprofit made up of coaching professionals. They're the gold standard in our profession. This is where the code of ethics comes from, and members and credential holders as well are accountable to that code of ethics. They also have standards for accrediting coach training programs, which that in and of itself becomes your number one criteria. They have hundreds of coach training programs accredited. So the number one thing to look for is one of those, one of the ICF accredited programs. The standard for membership is 60 hours of training, and then they also have standards for credentialing. And several people had questions on that, so we'll do a deeper dive. There are 4 different levels at the International Coaching Federation. The first level is membership, and to become a member, they require you to have 60 hours of coach training. Their second level is what's called the ACC credential. It requires the same 60 hours of training plus 100 hours of coaching experience, 10 hours of mentor coaching, 1 recording of you coaching a client, which is then assessed and must pass at the ACC level. And then there's an exam that you take. When you successfully complete all of that, that's how you earn the ACC credential. For the PCC credential, the training hours go up to 125. So you're talking an additional 65 hours. Your coaching experience hours go up to 500. The mentor coaching requirement is the same, with the difference being that you must be assessed on 2 different coaching sessions. That's done via recording. And then there's a different exam. It is worth noting for the MCC credential that ICF actually requires you to first obtain your PCC credential, hold it for 3 years, then you can pursue the MCC credential. In this diagram, we're showing you what those paths are to the different levels. So very specifically, much like when you go to college, when you start coach training, you start with your foundational programs or courses. So the first course with us is called the Certified Professional Coach. You can see that's 30 hours. That's half the requirement for ICF membership. So what's the reason that's available? Well, let's talk about that. First off, it's partial hours because ICF accredits programs that are 60 hours or more as level 1 and 125 or more as level 2. So this is partial hours. It is valuable to people for several reasons. First off, some people don't plan to become a coach. They simply want the coaching skills because they're a leader in the workplace. Their job expects it. They have requirements, etc. So they want that foundation in coaching with the certification. The second way it's valuable for those who do want to be a coach, and this is very important, is because you have to log hours of experience. It's pretty tough to just go out there and say, okay, I'm a coach now without any background or training or anything backing you up. What this particular certification does is give you your first piece of credibility. You can say, I'm a certified professional coach. Additionally, once you're registered, or if you did register to keep going with the certified master coach, you can join ICF as a member. ICF membership requires having had 60 hours or being enrolled to complete 60 hours of coach training. What that means is when you complete that first 30-hour program, we're going to say, get started logging those experience hours. You're ready. You will have a process. You can get started. And you'll have something to back you up. You can say, I'm a certified professional coach and I'm a member of ICF. So there's some credibility and value to that. While you're getting your coaching experience hours, you are continuing with your training. You move into the certified master coach class. Now, a lot of people say, okay, how does this work? What does it really look like? So an analogy I can give you, think about when you go to college. The first couple of years of college are all about your core requirements, your basics, the things you have to have. These 2 classes are very much like your first 2 years of college. They're all your core classes, your foundation, the basics that you got to have it. If you're going to go to the ACC credential level, what you'll move into next is the mentor coaching program. ICF has very specific requirements around the mentor coaching. And here's what I can share with you. At the Center for Coaching Certification, all of those boxes are checked. know the requirements. We're going to help you meet them. You've got it covered. So you're good to go there. Some programs include the mentor coaching, some do not. Some require you to actually go find a mentor coach, engage them in addition to the program before you can get your certification. The same is going to be true of the assessment. So for the recording, the actual recording part, that's you. The assessing part of it, that's done by someone who is trained as an assessor by ICF. Oftentimes it's separate from the program and oftentimes it's included. So in this case, yes, the mentor coaching is included. Yes, the assessing is included. It is all part of the program. So it's there for you. When you have completed the training hours, you've logged your experience, you've completed your mentor coaching and the assessing, you are then eligible to apply to ICF for the credential. The first thing they're going to do is have you take the exam. Please note that we do exam prep during the mentor coaching. So it is happening. You'll be ready for it. Once you take that exam and pass it, that's how you get to the ACC credential. Now, for many people, they say, okay, ultimately, I want to do the PCC credential because I plan on doing executive coaching. There's requirements for it, etc. What you can do, and many do, is they get their ACC credential first and then continue. Alternatively, you can sign up for the full program to go all the way to your PCC. And if you choose, you can get the ACC along the way. So you're going to have options and we can support you with that and answer those questions specifically. For those that are going to the PCC level, you're logging a total of 500 hours of experience. So yes, the 100 hours for the ACC level are part of those 500 hours. So it's in addition to what you already have. You are required to have the additional training hours. So the certified advanced coach, think about this as you move into your junior or senior year of college and you're going to declare your major. Very much like what's happening here. You're defining, hey, this is the direction I'm moving. And you have some flexibility and some choice there. The next class is the coaching experience class. And for that class, it's fabulous because it's practice, 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 and you're completing your training hours. The mentor coaching is essentially the same at the ACC and the PCC level. The difference is for the PCC, you're going to have 2 different recordings of yourself that get assessed, and the standards for passing that assessment are a bit higher. When you have completed these elements here, you can apply to ICF. They will invite you to take the exam, and successfully completing that exam is how you get to the PCC level. Hopefully, this diagram is adding clarity to what the journey is. The symbols with the star are programs that are going to be offered by Coach Training. The circle inside the circle is only through the International Coaching Federation. And then the check marks are things you're doing independently as you move through the process. And yes, of course, we're going to help you with that and walk you through that. All right. So hopefully that gives you a pretty good concept of what that looks like. Let's see. Somebody's got a question in here for me. Do you need to get the PCC? And this person in particular is saying they want to be a career coach. Here's what I find. The corporations where they're hiring coaches for their senior leaders, their executives, the C-suite, et cetera, often will require a PCC credential. If you're talking career coaching, if you're talking in organizations, more entry to mid-level people, if you're talking in nonprofits, that kind of thing, typically speaking, you're fine at the ACC level. What many people will do is get their ACC and then you're in the field, you're working, you're doing things, and you can make a decision for yourself as to whether or not you want to continue. Because the beauty of it is everything you do to move you toward your ACC actually is part of what you're doing to get the PCC anyway. If I were looking at becoming a career coach, yeah, I'm 100% okay saying do your level 1, get your ACC credential and go from there. So hopefully that helped answer that question. If you have more with that, just let me know. Let me know on that. All right, I'm going to keep going. The next image I'm going to bring up takes that first set of steps and it layers it with the programs that we offer to help meet each of these requirements. So very specifically, I mentioned the 30-hour program if people want an initial certification. When you combine that 30-hour program with the next class, the Certified Master Coach, you'll have the hours for membership. When you add the mentor coaching, that moves you to the ACC credential. For the PCC, there's 2 additional training classes. Because you must get to PCC before you go to MCC anyway, we're going to focus on those initial steps. Hopefully that's helping, and I'm watching the chat box and the question box. All right. Big question for many, many people is, okay, how much does it cost? What does that look like? So let's move into a couple of pieces here. First off, we're going to give you a choice. You can sign up for a complete cohort that gives you all of the training hours and mentor coaching required for the credential you want. For the level 1 cohort to earn the ACC credential, what you want to do is look at this yellow column right here. That gives you everything that's required to earn the ACC credential. It's called level 1. It includes the certified professional coach, the certified master coach, and the mentor coaching. Then what you can see down at the bottom, you have a cost savings. If you bundle those together as a cohort, compared to taking classes individually, you're going to save $495. So the full cohort is $58.90. If you say, I got to manage time, I got to manage budget, I want to take 1 class at a time, you're going to have that option too. For that, look at the rows. So the first row is the Certified Professional Coach program. It shows you it's 30 hours and it gives you a price for that. And yes, these are USD numbers. My apologies. I realize we have people from all over the place. These are USD numbers. And if you want to break it down further, we can do that. After you complete the Certified Professional Coach, some people say, how much after? Totally up to you. Some people turn around and go right into it. Some people come back a year or 2 later. It totally depends on you. Your next class is the Certified Master Coach program. And again, you can pay for it individually. Then the mentor coaching is available to you, and you can pay for it individually. When you have completed each of those 3 programs with us, you have also completed your level 1, and we can give you that level 1 certification so that you can pursue that ACC credential on the path that is most convenient in terms of time and money. If you decide you want to do the PCC credential, that's the level 2, look at the green column. So in the green column, you're enrolling in all 5 of the programs. Your total cost is $97.80. That saves you $795 over doing these classes 1 by 1. If you decide to do them 1 by 1, yes, the other 2 classes that are included in this bundle are available to you. Again, it's a matter of time and money. Do you want to save money by enrolling up front? Do you want to manage time and money over time by taking classes 1 at a time? So you have options. You can do what works for you. These are the programs that get you there on level 1, level 2. Our job is to support you and make it easy. Hopefully that clarifies everything there. Those are typically the most common questions. So let's move into some general information, statistics, and insights around coaching. PricewaterhouseCoopers cites it as the 2nd fastest growing sector in the world. I mean, that's exciting that it's that big. IT is first, in case anyone didn't know that. Forbes magazine. Do you have a coach? If not, you could be limiting your career success. It flat out said that. And I love the research that backs it up. Here's just one of them. They did this one at Amoco, and it was over a 10-year period of time. So fabulous longevity. Amoco, by the way, is now owned by British Petroleum. And here's what they found. The people that had a coach demonstrated improved performance, increased ratings and potential for advancement, and 50% higher average salary increases. It's phenomenal. Of course, it made a difference in their career. And the people working with the coach attributed the results to the coaching. They flat out said it. So that's phenomenal. It's pretty exciting to see results like that. Dennison Consulting cites coaching as the organizational development tool of choice for both leaders and emerging leaders. We definitely are seeing that with the companies that engage coaches with us. When you do look at the reasons companies hire coaches, what are they? So Harvard Business Review did this study, and here's what they found. 48% of the time, companies will engage a coach because they want to develop high potentials or to facilitate transitions. So, for example, developing high potentials will have organizations that engage us to provide coaches to people who are in leadership development programs. Sometimes they're slotted in the succession planning strategy that is going on. Sometimes they are targeted as a future leader. So whatever that is, it's supporting them, facilitating their transition as they're advancing in their career. 26% of the time, coaches are engaged as a sounding board. Now, we see this most often in the C-suite. For example, somebody who's in the C-suite is 100% okay with making their own to-do list and checking actions off and that kind of thing. What serves them in terms of engaging with a coach is someone that is going to challenge their thinking, expand their thinking, support them considering different perspectives and possibilities. And it serves the company well because it elevates their decision-making as well as elevates how they're engaging with others in the organization. It gets results. Now, interestingly enough, years ago, people used to think, oh, I thought you got a coach because something was wrong. Please remember, having a coach is an investment. When a company gives someone a coach, it's like saying you get the corner office with the window. It is a bonus. High potentials leaders now know in pursuing a job to ask for a coach as part of their compensation package. So that's pretty common. Having said that, when a company has someone in a role and something's getting in the way and they want that person to be successful, they will bring in a coach to help them address their own derailing behavior. It is an investment in them. The company wants to keep them. They want them to be successful. Now, interestingly enough, when Harvard did this study, 76% of the time, personal issues got addressed. And sometimes people are surprised by that. Okay, wait a minute, it's supposed to be at work and the job. And people are people. Whatever they have going on in their life comes to work with them. When they have a place to address that, it means then the rest of the time they truly can focus 100% on the job. So it does make sense. Now, as far as individuals, if I'm going to engage with a coach, whether I'm paying them privately or my company is hiring them, what's going to motivate me? So the research tells us, number one, establishing and achieving goals. That just sounds obvious, no brainer. Yes. Interestingly enough, self-awareness came up next, followed by confidence. So people really want that awareness of self, and confidence and self-esteem are a huge factor in their success, whatever they do. So that's a big one. It goes on to say improving communication skills. Sometimes that's interpersonal, sometimes it's public speaking, sometimes it's written format. It can be in different ways. It's a big one because how they communicate with others makes a difference in what their results are. People want to enhance their emotional intelligence. You want to create a healthy work-life schedule, advance their career. That's a nod to whoever asked about career coaching. So yes, very much part of it. Leadership development is huge. Problem-solving skills and decision-making skills. And then, of course, increasing resilience and adaptability. There's so much going on in today's world, and managing and coping with that is huge. Okay, Fortune magazine. And yes, this is very US centric. I know I have people from other parts of the world. This is what they said. Business coaching is attracting America's top CEOs because it works. And they went on to say the average return on the cost of coaching is 600%. Now that's phenomenal. There are very few things you can invest in that are going to give you that kind of a return. It's backed up by the research. So one of the more commonly cited studies comes from Metrics Global. They found that coaching produced a 529% ROI. And when they added the financial benefits from employee retention, big change in that one, the benefit boosted to 788%. A huge return on their investment. Now, a completely different approach to looking at the impact of coaching looked at productivity in the workplace. And here's what they found. The standard go-to is training. And when you do training, you increase productivity 22.4%. When you combine coaching with that training, your productivity jumps up 88%, nearly 4 times the impact. That's phenomenal. And when you see that information, it begs the question, okay, if you're doing training, why wouldn't you do coaching? It just makes sense. You lose too much of your investment otherwise. And there's another study that points that out too. Xerox Corporation said, if you don't do follow-up coaching, 87% of the skills change that you gain through training ends up being lost. It's gone. So the value of that follow-up coaching is tremendous. If you're going to have a training program, you want to have follow-up coaching for that training. Economic sense on that one. Okay. In terms of selecting a coach, how does somebody decide? The top 2 reasons individuals have for who they pick as a coach is they want to know you have experience in a similar setting. Now, what they're looking for is that you understand their world. It doesn't necessarily mean the same role or even the same industry. They want to know that you get their environment, what they're in. And they also want to know you have a clear methodology. So when you think about those 2 things, the experience you have, that is what you have. You bring that to the table. I don't care what coach training school you go to. There isn't anybody out there that can give you professional work experience as part of your school. It's something you bring to the table. What you do want when you do coach training is that clear methodology, how you do what you do to support that client truly maximizing their own opportunities. To give you an analogy for that, we're going to compare building a coaching relationship with building a staircase. And this is aligned very closely with what the competencies are for us as a coach. So the first consideration, if you're going to build a staircase, the first thing you're doing is building a framework. If you're building a coaching relationship, similarly, you've got to have a framework in place. What is it? Well, like most professions, it starts with training. And through training, you're developing competency-specific skills for doing that work. And you're, of course, learning the ethics and applying those in what you're doing. Once you have your framework in place, you're ready to start adding steps. In a coaching engagement, the first step is an agreement. And this comes in stages or phases, if you will. Initially, it's a conversation what coaching is and isn't. It moves into a formal engagement for the coaching relationship. And then every single coaching session, coming to an agreement. What does the client want to gain from that session specifically? What do they want to talk through to get there? And developing that. With that agreement in place, you move to the next step of understanding. It is incumbent on the coach to understand the client. Who are they? How do they think? How do they process? What's their context? What's their culture? Because all of that influences their perceptions, their possibilities and opportunities, their approach to doing things, etc. So it's on the coach to understand the client. That calls for a solid process, by the way, when you move into coaching. With that understanding in place, your next step is rapport. Rapport is actually the number one indicator of success in a coaching relationship. When a client knows they can trust their coach and truly open up, that's where the magic happens in coaching. Getting to that place of rapport takes everything else that came before it. It takes coach training, competency, and ethics. It takes that agreement. It takes taking time to understand your client. And when you do have that rapport, it in turn supports communication. It's truly open. The coach is listening on many levels. They're listening to understand from the client's perspective. They listen for patterns and themes over time. They listen for connections or disconnections amongst different things someone is saying. So very deep listening. And the way the coach says what they say makes a difference, because there are words that support people being confident, proactive, and there are words that can undermine that. So being clear, direct, and respectful in how you say what you say is going to be a very significant part of coach training. A third area here is questions. Coaching questions are completely different than any other type of question out there. And learning how to ask powerful coaching questions is a phenomenal tool, whatever you do. It's a great skill set. With that communication in place, what you're setting up is exploration. The client is exploring what are their possibilities, what are their opportunities, what are their potential barriers, what are their resources. And then as they move through that exploration, the client is developing their own strategy for how they want to move forward to that doorway called success. And it is the client who is defining that success. So this gives you a solid understanding of developing that coaching relationship. Now let's look at a diagram of the process itself. And please know, there is a different diagram for every coach, for every client, etc. There are many, many different variations on this. So this gives you a very standard look at, hey, how does this work? It is a good practice to have what we call an introductory session. It's an initial 20, 30 minutes. The client gets to know the coach gets to know the client starts to get a sense of how this coaching works and what it's like. And what's coming out of that is determination. Hey, is this a good match? Is this coach going to serve the client effectively? Is it going to click and work? When they do decide to move forward, remember how important it is for the coach to understand the client. So you want an intake process that serves the client, sets them up for success, moves them forward with their goals, while at the same time, it gives the coach the opportunity to get to know the client and understand them. So we've got a fabulous opening session that serves those purposes, followed by a session that is a progression from it for supporting the client, being truly focused on what it is they want and engaging fully. With the intake process complete, you then move into your ongoing engagement. The client is the one who will prioritize what they want to focus on and accomplish. They are the ones who develop the strategies, their own action plans, and both the client and the coach are taking time to notice progress and success along the way and acknowledge that. This continues throughout. Now, of course, this is where you have so many different variables of what can happen in the session. This is a very simplified version. With this going on, it's worth knowing the average coaching relationship is going to last 12 months. Very common, coaches will ask for an initial commitment to 6 sessions or whatever that may be. And the average relationship will continue to about 12 months. When a client is complete, and sometimes they're complete because, hey, that's all the number of sessions my employer gave me. Sometimes they're complete because they accomplished what they wanted to accomplish through the coaching. They've gained the value they're going to gain from that engagement, whatever it is. The coach is working to help the client set themselves up for the long term. How will they maintain their progress and success? How will they continue to build on it after coaching. And there's a closing session in which the client is reflecting on what they've gained through the process, key insights, learning from it that they want to continue to apply. And while we call it a closing session, the coach lets the client know the door is open, because clients often come back. They'll come back months later, they'll come back years later. So letting them know the door is open. Okay, certification itself. This really digs to the meat of what you're looking for in this conversation. Pros and cons, what does it take? First off, the overwhelming majority of coaches, 80%, agree that their clients expect them to be certified or credentialed. What's interesting about this, so yeah, there are coaches that are not, and of course they're not going to see that. At the same time, there are clients that don't know whether their coach is certified or credentialed. They believe it, they expect it, they just don't really know, they assume. So that's an interesting perspective. And here's what we know. Increasingly, people are getting a credential. In 2022, 85% had a certification or a credential, which was a 24% increase from 2015, just 74 years earlier, and an 11% increase from just 3 years before. So definitely the number is growing. People are becoming more and more aware of how important it is for the coach to have training, a credential. 85% of coaches have a certification according to Entrepreneurs Headquarters. And check this out, 99% of their clients are satisfied with their coaching experience. So that's huge. If we really boil it down, as much as I want to say it's all pros, two big cons, and these apply in most things for us: time and money. If it weren't for the time involved in coach training and the money involved in coach training, it's a no-brainer because it's such a valuable skill set. I joke that I'm a better mother and grandmother and friend and family member and aunt and everything else because of learning coaching. It goes way beyond our opportunities professionally and within our careers, and truly makes a difference in every area of our life. So yes, the time and the money are really the factors that get in the way. Going beyond time and money, what are the pros? So obviously career advancement is a big one. And when we say career advancement, if somebody's in leadership, there are a lot of career fields that want people to have coach training, coaching certification. Some of them even require it. So it's a definite opportunity there. People who are in a leadership role are expected to develop coaching skills. Again, it supports advancing someone's career. It's also a business opportunity. Some people move into coaching as a part-time gig or a side gig. Some people see it as an after career, something they'll do when they retire from where they're at now. Some people are in business, whether they do training or consulting or those kinds of programs, and adding coaching is a no-brainer. It just makes sense. Probably clients are asking for it. So definite pros and cons. Here are the statistics for you. I mentioned there's a lot of schools. There are 931 schools that currently offer level 1. There are 676 schools that offer level 2. Now, the level 3, those are the schools that are helping people earn their MCC credential. So there's 61 of those. There are 1,894 schools that offer continuing coach education, and 123 that offer an advanced accreditation in team coaching. So nearly 4,000 programs, 3,685 as of the end of May this year. So there's a lot of options out there. All right, how do you choose? This is what people told us in terms of choosing the Center for Coaching certification. Number one, they care about credibility. I'll give you some things you can look at to determine credibility. I think that's a really tough one when you're sitting on the outside looking in. Coaching tools. Now, this is something we're phenomenal at. We go above and beyond. All of the materials you receive during the class, all of that's included. And we give you so much more when you graduate. login pages, assessment dashboards, all kinds of things for you. The ongoing support. Every month there's a Q&A call. You can come as often as you want. We also offer professional development opportunities. Part of it is our coach training carries with it. We're accredited CEU provider, which means people that are in other fields can use our credit hours for continuing ed to support maintaining other designations. That's a big deal. It's also a fabulous personal development opportunity. What comes out of the coach training and the practicum experience is phenomenal. And as a bonus, one of the really great tools we give is a dashboard. You can start giving assessments immediately, and there's a bunch of different ones you can use at wholesale. So it's very awesome. All right, let's go to that credibility question. How do you know? Well, we mentioned how many programs at level 1 and level 2. How do you narrow it down from the hundreds? So, of course, the level 1 and level 2, that is the first factor to look for. Obviously, there are schools outside of these numbers. If you're not seeing these logos on the homepage of the website, go look somewhere else, because those are the most important thing you want. And you still have a lot of choices. Beyond that, I mentioned earlier on the professional development side, we are accredited by the international accreditors for continuing education and training. That means, for example, if someone's in human resources, well, the Society for Human Resource Management and the Human Resource Certification Institute accept our credit hours automatically. The Association for Talent Development accepts our credit hours. We have had financial planners, attorneys, medical professionals, of course, therapists, counselors, and psychiatrists. We have had people from all walks of life take our coach training and use the credit hours to renew other designations or as college credit, because many colleges and universities accept the hours that are accredited by ISF. So it's a true value add. We are also accredited by the Association of Image Consultants International. There are a lot of professionals there working with executives on their personal presence, their branding, yes, their appearance, and also their speaking and communication. So coach training is a no-brainer for them. It elevates the results they get with their clients. These designations give you a sense, because it's other organizations saying, yes, they know what they're doing. They've got their program, they've got their content, etc. I think a really valuable thing to know too is who's in the class. At the Center for Coaching Certification, we have participants from the Association for Talent Development, the Society for Human Resource Management, Human Resource Certification Institute, Financial Planners Association, National Small Business Administration, Association of Image Consultants International, International Coaching Federation, International Accreditors for Continuing Education and Training, mental health professionals, consultants, project managers. Flat out, it's people who enjoy empowering others. So the people in the program are just fabulous. They bring so much to the table, discussions, application of current skills into coaching. It's fabulous. So it's a great benefit to know the caliber of who's in that class with you. All right, competencies. Whatever class you go to, these are the core competencies for being a coach, and it is absolutely vital that the focus be on developing these competencies. So the first area of competency is called foundation. And the two competencies here are demonstrates ethical practice and embodies a coaching mindset. Then we have co-creating the relationship with establishes and maintains agreements, cultivates trust and safety, and maintains presence. Communicating effectively includes listens actively and evokes awareness. And cultivating learning and growth includes facilitates client growth. Yes, our programs are designed to develop a solid foundation in these competencies. And as you progress, to further elevate the quality of what you're doing. So who actually benefits from coaching certification? As I said, I want to say everyone. So specifically, leaders benefit, trainers, educators, consultants, managers, human resource professionals, project managers, service providers, business owners. Whoop, got ahead of myself. It truly makes a difference for us in all different professions and in all different areas of our life. Here are a few statistics that'll back that up. So first off, Gallup did a poll. 86% of employees think their bosses are uninspiring. If their boss is uninspiring, you can imagine what the metrics say in terms of engagement and productivity. You can imagine what the turnover is going to be like. So yes, when that boss has coach training, it makes a difference. They start getting results in a big way. Harvard Business Review said it. Coaching is integral to the fabric of a learning culture and a skill that good managers at all levels need to develop and deploy. So making it that difference. Excuse me. I'm just saying. Okay. Skill development opportunities for you on a personal level and professional. I knew that was coming. Sorry about that. Okay. On a personal and professional levels, very core skills you'll develop in coach training. So first off, your communication skills, and those apply in everything we do: listening, assertive language, questioning. People skills, recognizing different personal styles and knowing how to flex to people based on who they are. And goal setting. To me, it's really interesting that the way people define a goal or state, hey, this is what I want, actually makes a difference in the results. So really important to know, hey, how do I want to approach that? What's going to be effective? In terms of the business opportunities, a lot of people had questions about the potential, et cetera. So here's the information put out by ICF. The hourly cost for coaching, and these are USD numbers. So you can, generally speaking, translate like you do US dollars to your currency. If you want another example, think about the range from hiring a counselor on up to a high-level consultant, and you'll have something similar. So the range, 100 to 3,500, with the median being 500 and the average being 244 per hour. So that's pretty good opportunity right there. It is projected that by 2027, $125.1 billion USD will be spent globally on coaching. According to ICF, as of June this year, I think they put the numbers out every couple months, so we don't have August numbers anymore yet. That's too early. Here's what they said. At the end of June, they had 63,175 member coaches. Of those, 28,857 were at the ACC level. 25,711 were at the PCC level. Only 2,569 of us are at the MCC level, which tells you there's not very many of us that continue on to that level, because generally speaking, when your focus is coaching, PCC level is really going to get you there. There are 804 people that have an advanced certification in team coaching. So for you as a business, whether it's an add-on service, part-time business, full-time business, whatever it is, definitely there's opportunities. Now, a review of the programs themselves. The certified professional coach starts with a series of classes. This is your first 30 hours. The classes include about coaching. We talk about what coaching is and is not. There are a lot of common misunderstandings out there. And we're going to start going into the competencies. Then we do a class on ethics. And I love ethics. I'm kind of a nerd. It's actually really fun. We talk about different scenarios, what ifs, etc. Understanding your client is a fabulous way to simply be present to who this other person is and know how to adjust to them based on who they are. recognizing people change all the time. We're different at different times. We're different depending on what's going on. So how can you be aware of that and flex to them? The communication class is worth its weight in gold. The listening skills, the clear, direct language, being respectful with it, and how to ask coaching questions. Then the class on focus and motivation just expands your application because now we're incorporating things like learning style, language patterns, thought patterns, and really going further with how we engage with our clients. With each of these classes, there is a homework assignment. The first couple of classes, you're doing additional reading, research. The next 3 classes, you're taking the tools and techniques discussed in class and you're practicing them in your day-to-day conversations, which means you're immediately applying the content that you're learning while you're in the program. Then there's a group session. You get to ask whatever questions you want. You can explore if you want to look at resources that are coming, the coaching practice, whatever it is. That group session is for everybody there. You'll move from it into the coaching practicum. During the coaching practicum, you'll be partnered with others in the class. You will have someone that you coach. You'll have someone that is coaching you, and you will have someone there who is observing. So you get a chance for all 3 roles multiple times, which is incredible in terms of developing your skills. There is a case study that you'll complete at the end of that practicum. Then after your certification, monthly Q&A call is there to support you. You'll have a login page, and some of the benefits on the login page include a number of tools for business of coaching and marketing your coaching business, recorded coaching sessions, and more. There's a ton there. So that's all available to you. And we'll also promote opportunities for the continuing education so that you're maintaining on your designation. For the Certified Master Coach program, the classes, and here's another question. Do the certifications ever lapse? The certification itself does not. So once you have certified professional coach, certified master coach, or a level 1, level 2 certificate, etc., no. The International Coaching Federation, when you earn a credential with them, the ACC or the PCC, they require you to renew that by having 40 hours of continuing education every 3 years. So you're talking 12 to 14 hours a year of continuing ed to maintain that. What's really great to know is there are a ton of opportunities for free, as well as a lot of great conferences and other ways that you can maintain it. So that's available. Now with us, your certificate does not expire. We do have a coach login page with a ton of resources on it. Access to that expires. So every 3 years, you submit the same continuing education you do for ICF if you want to renew your login access. So I hope that answered that question. Okay, the Certified Master Coach class. First class is group and team coaching. And the reason we start there is because group and team coaching is going to be part of the practicum that you're going to do here. It's a fabulous add-on when you're coaching. From there, it goes into a class on ethics and agreements, coaching process, people in communication, and creating change with confidence. With each of these, there's a deeper dive into how you're engaging and working with your client. There's a deeper dive into don't do this, do this, really understanding what works as a coach. So it's fabulous. It helps a lot of things click into place. Then there's a class on time and money, because just as time and money are huge considerations for, hey, do I want to do coach training? There are factors for people and decisions they make all day long. The final debrief, by the way, will come after the coaching practicum. It's considered a class time. There are pre-work and homework assignments with these classes. We'll give you questions to answer. And the more you're using real examples, the more you're going to gain from that. The coaching practicum itself, in this case, will involve the group coaching. So there are 6 sessions that are scheduled. As somebody in the program, you'll have a chance to be the coach for the group, and you'll be in the group coaching for the other groups so that you experience all different approaches. You also will have individual coaching, and the process is set up differently than in the previous program, and that's intentional. You'll be involved in interviewing classmates, selecting who you want as a coach, working with the different possibilities, and then having individual coaching sessions. When you complete that portion, there's a final report where you're just writing about a coaching experience, what you did, what you learned, etc. The Certified Advanced Coach program, the classes include coach competencies and strengths. We're now building on the competencies you have and adding strengths that work together with them. There's a great tool there for exploring that. Engaging and understanding your clients. And there are variations depending on the type of coaching you do. Engaging an executive coaching client is different than life coaching, which is different than career coaching or business coaching. So there's value in truly recognizing what are some of the different considerations and how do you approach it. The coaching relationship itself and how you're interacting with somebody. And there are a lot of different theories and philosophies about developing that coaching relationship. We actually incorporate components of many, and you're going to take a deeper dive into those here. Client priority management, and some great tools, different approaches to priority management. We'll talk about the client's future and for you as coach, challenges and trends you're dealing with. The coaching debrief, again, comes after the practicum portion. In this program, you'll have reading that's done ahead of time, and we provide all the reading materials, and then homework that's done after each class. Again, you'll be given questions. The coaching practicum includes the group coaching and the individual coaching. The format, the approach is going to be different. So that, again, intentional. There's so many different processes that with each program, you get to experience something different. And then there's final report. For the coaching experience class, the focus is practice, practice, practice. So we do a review of the competencies and specifically how they get evaluated. So there's an overview of that. Then there's a look at competencies specifically for team coaching, how that applies when you're doing the group and team coaching. You'll have your 6 group coaching sessions individually. You'll have 5 sessions where you're the coach, 5 where you're the client, and 5 where you're observing. And then there's a debrief at the end of that. The mentor coaching. This is different than training. It is an ICF requirement, and it is required for all 3 credential levels. So what happens in mentor coaching? There are 5 90-minute group sessions. These are focused on discussing the coaching competencies and their application in your work as a coach. We also, by the way, we do mini coaching sessions, practicing with that, demonstrating that. Then you have 3 individual sessions. And during the individual sessions, we have a proprietary 360 of your competencies. And we're also reviewing your recording. So ICF requires a very specific assessment process. So we do that assessment for you, and we're going to discuss, hey, what is the result here? What does this mean? What can you learn from it? How do you apply it, etc. So it's a really great process. Absolutely up levels the coaching that you're doing. In terms of resources that are included, we include everything plus. So all of your class materials, those are included. When you graduate, we have login pages on the website with even more materials and resources available. There's an assessment dashboard that we give you. I mentioned that earlier, with dozens of assessments. You can start using them immediately. They're at wholesale. Do you have to get certified? No. Can you get certified if you want to, and it's discounted? So that's available to you. A lot of opportunities that we work on creating for you as a coach. So, for example, if you ever want to guest blog and get in front of a new audience, if you want to guest present, if you want to get published, we're creating those opportunities. We have a guest. I have you as a guest on the podcast, and we do a LinkedIn Live session too if you ever want to be a guest there. We have an online searchable directory called Find a Certified Coach, in which graduates can list themselves for people who are looking for a coach. And then we also are a coaching provider. So Coach 123 contracts with organizations to provide coaches. And the way that works is everybody that gets a coach is going to be given at least 3 options based on what it is they want. They're invited to interview those people and decide which one they want to work with. The people that we're presenting as prospective coaches are graduates of our program. So it is a unique opportunity for our graduates. And when they get selected, then they have that coaching engagement. So it's a really great way, great opportunity. Okay, so we're there on time. Next step for you at this point. First off, I mentioned at the beginning, you're here checking us out. I've got something for you. After this session is over, I'm going to put the recording on YouTube and I'm going to email a link to everybody who registered. When I send that link, that email, if you want a free 30-minute session, just respond to it and ask for a link to my calendar and I'll send it to you. You can schedule a 30-minute call with me so that you'll be able to do that. That's available to you. And some people use it for coaching. Some people use it for getting additional questions answered. However you want to do it, it's your time. The application itself is free. It's on the website. What's nice about that is you have little boxes. Okay, here's the requirements. It helps you know what that is. And it helps you think on paper. You're sharing information about yourself so we can get to know you, and you're sharing information about your interest in coaching. Then when you know which class schedule you want, the way to hold your place in a class is to pay the registration on it. When you submit the application, it will take you to that page directly. Okay, so question on that. Let me do this. I'm about wrapped up on this presentation, and then I'm going to close it out and I'll go to the website with you and I'm going to help you navigate so that you can find where class schedules are. So thank you for that. All right. So in terms of wrapping this up, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for your time and interest. Very much want to support you on your journey to becoming a coach and hope we get to welcome you to the CCC community. So I am going to stop this share. Let me get out of my PowerPoint. My apologies, everyone. I am going to bring up our website so that we can navigate to a couple things together. And I think that will help answer those more recent questions. Okay, so here's the website. First thing I'm going to point out to everybody, I showed you several infographics in this conversation. If you want to see them again on the website, over the picture there's different buttons. The green one says how to become a coach. If I click on how to become a coach, the page it takes me to includes the infographics we were discussing. So you can see the requirements for each of ICF's different levels. You can see the journey, highlighting which parts are through a school, which you're doing on your own, and what you're doing through ICF. And the table is there with the cost of all the different programs. So in terms of schedules and those options, all right, here's what I'm gonna do. If I put my cursor over coach training, and then I put it over where it says ICF level 1 and level 2, you can look for the overview of level 1, or you can look at the class schedules. Similarly, overview for level 2, and you can look at class schedules. If you want an a la carte path where you're just going to take segments of the program at a time, you can get overview of all those different classes here. If you do want the schedule for individual classes, go to additional coach education and drop down to schedules. For right now, based on that question, I'm going to go to level 1 schedules for the ACC credential, and I'm going to click on that. When you come to this page, it will show you. Here are the different start dates of the class. It'll give you the days of the week the class is meeting and the time of day. So, for example, there's a class starting next week that is at 10 a.m. Eastern. And you also have Greenwich Mean Time here. So this gives you an idea. And if you say, okay, that class schedule looks really good, you can click on it. And at this point, you can see the complete schedule. So this will show you every single class for that first 30 hours, every single class for the next 35-hour program, and the classes for the mentor coaching. So everything that is live with the group is listed here. And there's explanation of what happens during the practicum and your assignments in between. If you say, oh gosh, I've got too many conflicts with that class, if it's one conflict, talk to us, because we do have a process if you're needing to make something up. So let's say you say, okay, I need a different option on the schedule. Well, here's a different option. There's a class starting October 1st. It's at a different time of day, different days of the week. Same thing is going on where everything's listed and you can choose which one you're going for. So lots of options listed here on the website. You can come check those out. If you want to start getting a sneak peek of some of the resources, well, the coach login page, all you're going to see is the login for the different things. You won't see what's actually there. There's a ton of stuff. I can show you that if you want. You can also look here. We have FAQs. You can learn more about the assessment dashboard and what's available there. You can see different monthly programs, lots of reading. If you want to learn more about us as an organization or the people on the team, you can come check that out. If you are interested in testimonials, a lot of people are saying, yeah, how do I know? What do I decide? So the testimonials are available to you. That's somebody else saying it. There's a podcast, a vendor directory. This is moving into the solutions for a coaching program. By the way, that website, this is Coach 123, where we place graduates into contracts with organizations. All right, back here, I mentioned, I said I would show you what's on the login page. Let me go get myself logged in. And I am happy to share this with you. So this is one example of all of the additional resources that you get. This is when you finish the first 30-hour program, and there's a ton of them. So that gives you a sense of what's available to you there. I can also show you on the assessment dashboard. When you log into that, you will have access to all these different assessments that you can start giving at wholesale prices, which is phenomenal. It's a great opportunity. So do come check these things out. They're great extra resources above and beyond everything else that we're giving you. So feel free to come visit, poke around, look at things, look at class overviews and schedules. Reach out with any questions. Let us know how we can be helpful to you. And we definitely hope we get to welcome you to the community. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here. I appreciate your time, your participation, your attention. I will get this recording onto YouTube, and then I will send you an email with that link. And of course, at that point, you can reply, and I'll send you a link to my calendar. So thank you much for being here. Appreciate it. And do make it a great one, everyone.